Assalamualaikum and a very good day to you, Mirza. So today I'm gonna present to you about my commentary video 2. So the topic is stereotypification theory. What is stereotypification? By definition, stereotypification is a structured ranking of entire groups of people that perpetuates unequal economic rewards and power in a society. So in this report, I did my interview session with one of my uncle. So his name is Afendi bin Ghazali. He was born in 1968. This August he's turning 53 years old. So he is a lecturer in UiTM Kelantan. Then about his family background. So his father was a primary school teacher, meanwhile his mother is a housewife, and he is the eldest out of 5 siblings. So basically his father is my grandfather. So what we can say from this, one of the stereotypification theory that we can relate to it is false consciousness. By definition, false consciousness is an attitude held by members of class that does not accurately reflect their objective position. So why did I say we can relate this theory with my uncle's family history? Is because back then women will only be a housewife. They are not encouraged to have an occupation. It is a taboo thing back then in the 1960s till 1980s. Only the men will go out and work to provide for the family. Yeah, that really happened back then. But nowadays people are more open and women can have their own ambition and occupation nowadays. Then the third question that I asked to my uncle is, how was the society in your neighborhood area treat you and your family back then? So he said to me that the society was nice to him because he was a son teacher. Maybe because he was a son of a school teacher. Everyone looked up to his father and his family back then, which is also my dad's family, yeah, since he's my uncle, right? So we can relate this to another stereotypification theory, which is prestige. So by definition, prestige is respect and admiration of an occupation holds in a society. So of course Afendi, which is my uncle that I interviewed, is one of the well-known students back then. Since his father, which is my grandpa, is the discipline teacher, so everyone in the school community or even in the village respect and admire his family. Because back then teacher was one of the high prestigious jobs back then. Then my fourth question was, what norms or values that your parents, that my grandpa taught my uncle back then? So he answered, his parents taught him to always put religion first in every aspect, never miss 5 daily prayers, and so on. Plus, his parents, which is my grandpa and grandma, always provide them with the best learning materials back then, since they are since my uncle and my grandpa is a school teacher, right? So some of the learning materials were exercise books and quick notes that helped them during their school years back then. and it's kinda limited because back then there's not much sources. Then my fifth question to him, can he tell me the differences between his parents' occupation and his occupation at the moment? So he answered the differences are he works as a lecturer, meanwhile my grandpa works as a primary school teacher in the 1970s till 1998. But there's still some similarities, such as they both want to teach and educate the next generation, and they work in a government sector also. Then my sixth question about the interview, are there any opportunities in his life that he took a positive and favorable value? So he answered yes, the opportunity that he took when he got the offer to pursue his PhD in Sheffield, United Kingdom. So he did his overseas in Sheffield for 4 years, in 2002 till 2006. He was learning PhD in political geography. So from working as a lecturer, he also been able to travel to overseas oftenly, and some of them are like seminar talk about geographical political issue with his colleague. In every 5 years they must have one at least, but I don't know, nowadays they still got it since the COVID-19 strikes. So then my 7 questions to him is it true that back then having a car is considered as wealthy or rich? So he answered yes. He said my grandpa is a school teacher, so my grandpa managed to buy his family one Toyota car back then. During his school days, he can say that in 10 groups of students, there are only 2 people that managed to buy a car, because he lives in villages, I guess. It will be another story if he lives in Kuala Lumpur or a bigger city. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So my grandpa did buy my uncle's family a Toyota car, which is an overseas car, a Japanese brand. So from that we can relate to one of the stereotypification theory, which is esteem. So what is esteem? Esteem by definition is reputation a specific person has earned within an occupation. So since my grandpa is a teacher, then he have the reputation to have a stable income, and that enables him to buy an expensive thing such as an overseas car for my uncle. Then the last question is, have you experienced a culture shock when you entered a high school? And my uncle did answer no, since he went to SMS Tengku Muhammad Fars Petra or Sekolah Menengah Sains Tengku Muhammad Faris Petra, which is in the same state that he lives in, which is Kelantan. There's not much culture shock. Maybe several of it was everyone in his school was very clear. It was very clear and have the smart attitude. So he also said that it's kind of hard for him to catch up with other students since everyone there are clever and smart, especially with the girls. So I think that's all from me. But let me recap the three stereotypification theory that I mentioned. So the first one is the false questionnaires, which is I relate in the second question. Then the second one is prestige that I relate with the third question. Then the last one is esteem, the last stereotypification theory that I relate with my question is esteem in the 7th question. So I guess that's all from me, but one moral value that I can conclude from my presentation is this is real life, this is the reality. We need to work hard to earn a status, a privilege. So we need to always be grateful that we can have a better education nowadays, and we can have the opportunity to change our life. So study hard and smart. That's all from me. Thank you, madam, for your time. Peace out.